Plenty to get through this morning on the Aftermath.
Day.
We'll take a look at this first hour. We've got James Sully Sullivan joining us as he does most Sundays. We've got Jack Turnbull, stable foreman for Kieran Maher off the back of you don't see too many Group 1 winners at over 100 to 1 odds there, Bradley. They were able to get the job done there yesterday. What a stable, to be honest, to be able to get that done there.
I'm talking through me kick. I missed it because I wouldn't put it in up the front. I thought this is going to be a blowout job somewhere, and I looked at it. It didn't deserve to be 100 to 1, Riley. That's the thing. I mean, its last time in town in Sydney was bloody good, you know. So yeah, it stuck under everybody's guard. But well done, Kieran Maher. They had a big day. They had a fat day, didn't they? All over the country.
They certainly did. They had a winner in one of the final races at Randwick with Piggyback, and they also had a stable double there at Flemington. So they covered all bases there yesterday. Kieran Maher's stable, that is for sure, and certain. Looking forward to catching up with Jack Turnbull, Chris Nelson, and Racetrack Ralphy to join us in the first hour as well. We're catching up with Peter Fernie, who has, I would say, about 100 runners going around at Kalgoorlie today, Bradley.
He is a beauty. His family are a beauty for the goldfields and WA racing per se, but God almighty, how do you keep up with them all?
Have a look at this. So Peter Fernie today, he's got a couple in the first, he's got one in the second, which is his smallest hand at Kalgoorlie today, 2 in the third, 3 in the fourth, 4 in the fifth, 3 in race 6 and 4 in the last. So he's got a very busy day at the KBRC today, does Peter Fernie. We're going to catch up with Denis Pagan, who is going to join us in that second hour. And Georgie Get Mad.
His stable's going like Wayne Carey at the moment. Unbelievable, Denis. Well done. That is fantastic. He's really turned it around, and he's put a lot of time, energy, and money, as everybody does.
I think
he's the racing industry,
and I think he's
turned it around.
He's been a realist with where he's at as a I guess a trainer, and the operation that he is running at the moment has been tough for him, but it was great to see him get the job done there yesterday at a big price with Georgie Get Mad winning at Flemington. We're going to catch up with Maddy Sears. Obviously, Tony and Maddy Sears training in partnership. They had a terrific day there at Eagle Farm yesterday with Yellow Brick and Steady Ready, both able to get the job done. Also catching up with Graham Crudeli as well in that second hour before Racing Rewind a little bit later on this morning. So plenty going on this morning on the Aftermath. But before we do anything else, we do need to do this, of course. So we've got our first guest on the line. I think we've got James Sully Sullivan waiting for us beautifully. We welcome him in. Good morning, Sully.
Minimum outlay, maximum return. God bless Georgie Get Mad yesterday. Oh, the 40s was beautiful, Brad. The 40 to 1. That every day. Hello, Riley. Hello, Bradley.
Hello, Sully. Well done. I said to Riley, Denis Pagan's got his stable going like Wayne Carey, or in your case, Wally Lewis.
Oh, well, that's it. No, it was very nice, very nice. Yeah, always good to get. But I'll tell you what, the NRL, if you're in a wayside yesterday, you got the chocolates, all 3. Oh, unbelievable.
Yeah. Mate, that's before we get into the NRL across the weekend. Let's go back to Wednesday night. And, wow, I know you spoke to the boys on the daily, but obviously sometimes different audience on a Sunday morning for the Aftermath. What did you make of it? Obviously, the first 7 minutes were explosive.
Oh, yeah, very explosive, and then it went madness. The bottom line, obviously the send-off changes the game, and I still say, and I have said to the lads, even on Drive on Friday, the bottom line is, it's amazing when you go through the stats. New South Wales won them all. New South Wales had more footy, more time in enemy territory. You go through all the stats, and it was just Queensland, obviously, the 12 men caught them. At the end of the day, that's what caught up with them at the end of the game. But the amount of tries scored by Queensland inside their own 40, that's the key. They scored them inside the 40, and that's a concerning thing for New South Wales, And obviously the send-off is a send-off. We know the aftermath of that. Excuse the pun, lads. But
is 4 weeks fair, Sully, do you think, the suspension?
It's probably, I thought probably... At the time, I did say 4, but what it's happened, Riley, and a lot of people might not realise, mate, it's actually 6 because the Roosters have got 2 buys in that period. So you won't see, and I can't see New South Wales picking him because the last Origin game is between round 19 and round 20. So I can't see New South Wales picking him for that third game. So that means young Joseph Suaalii won't be seen till round 20 for the Roosters. That's the harsh bit when you look at it like that. And Reece Walsh, obviously we know, but he's gone for 11 days. You know, that's the thing. So, yeah, harsh as you may see, but at the end of the day, it's all done.
They play the Broncos in that period of time because Kevy Walters was going pretty hard.
Oh, hasn't he? What? Yeah, Kevy's not happy about it, but at the end of the day, Reece Walsh will be back on the field before Suaalii. That's probably the way I look at it. And, gee whiz, the Broncos, they need him. That's the bottom line.
Yeah. No doubt. Mate, let's hit the ground running. Look, I said to Rylie before we came on, having our little meeting. Where's Benji at? West Tigers, Dairy Meek.
Yeah, it's a fascinating thing you say, and you probably, at the end of the day, they've lost 9 straight. That's a big thing. And at the start of the year, people, were a bit worried. Benji hasn't even done really an apprenticeship, has he, as a coach?
No.
As an assistant coach, even. He was with Team Tim Sheens last year, thrown into the bang. They got rid of Sheensy, and Benji got the gig. But at the moment, yeah, they're off. Brad, it's funny, and Roz, at the start of the year, I went, the last couple of years have been awful. They've won the wooden spoon. You don't have to be a rocket science. Here's the one. They've lost 50 of their last 60 games. The West Tigers. That's horrific. That second half, 40 points the Dragons put on them. Lomax, unbelievable. 32 points on his own. But back to the West Tigers. Mate, at the end of the day, you can't keep... how many coaches they sacked the last 5-6 years? You can't keep sacking coaches. I think they're going to have to stick strong. And you know what it's like, Brad. The bottom line is there's some kids getting games of first grade now, and I think they'll be good first graders in time to come. But eventually, they've got some injuries to some of those senior players, and as I said, 9 gone. Well, we had a similar scenario in the AFL yesterday, didn't we? We had a coach who's pretty experienced. He was, facing 15 losses, but they got a win. So for West Tigers fans, let's hope, for Benji's sake and the side that they can get a win shortly.
How about those
the other 3 games?
How about those bunnies yesterday, Sully? And how about the game of Latrell Mitchell?
Yeah, he put his hand up, didn't he? He's, all the talk, and there was talk that he didn't want to play Origin, and then there was talk that he did, and I think Madge and, Michael Maguire and Latrell have had a chat. The bottom line is there's a centre spot there, isn't there? I know he's playing fullback for the Rabbitohs, who were very good. This was a game I looked at. I sort of wasn't sure. They had 2 good wins. Obviously, the Titans beat the Bronx, and then the Eels, got beaten by the Rabbitohs. But now, all of a sudden, the Rabbitohs are getting a little bit of cattle back. You mentioned Latrell. I like Cody Walker and Jack Whiting in the centres. They let the ball talk, and that's what happens. You put on scores like that. That's a big, big win. I was joking, Bradley and Rylie, with the boys on Thursday. I said, if I was Ben Hornby, I'd just say to the boys, right, we win, we go out on the Gold Coast. We don't, you're going back to the motel. So they won big.
Exactly, straight down to Cavill Avenue. That's the way to go. And a couple of other big wins. The Warriors, way too good for the Cowboys. And as you said, the Sharks humbled the Broncos.
Well, I'll tell you what, this Warriors-Cowboys game, this was a massive game for both sides. And it was welcome back Cotter for the Warriors, because they welcomed back about 6-7 players. They had a lot come in, and the enthusiasm, opening minutes, and I heard Andrew Webster after it, he said, I was a bit worried before the game because in the dressing room they were just up and about. He said, I just thought the boys might cook it early. I tell you what, I know who they cooked, and that was the Cowboys. The Cowboys missed tackles of the Cowboys, unbelievable. Toddy Payton wasn't happy, and I don't blame him because especially up to half-time, but that is a big, big win for the Warriors. Mind you, they like going to Townsville. Maybe they like the sun on their back. And this game, wow, the Sharks. We've been waiting because they've been poor, but their record up there and against the Broncos wasn't good before this. But it was our Kalgoorlie / Willagee boy, Royce Hunt. Big Royce, he destroyed them in the second half. He's a monster, that boy. But he absolutely destroyed them. 3 quick tries in the opening 10 minutes. And the Sharks said, see you later. They caught a wave and went home. So, yeah, I'm a bit worried about the Broncos, boys, to be totally honest. I said a couple of weeks ago, they're just not controlling. I know Adam Reynolds is not there. They're missing him greatly. And Reece Walsh, as I said, when he flicks a switch, off you go. He's so electric. So they need them two back and need them back quick.
Can you say they're missing finals altogether, Sal, the Broncos?
No, I think they'll make the finals. I think the way looking at the draw, they'll make the finals. But, as we say, you've got to finish in that top four. The top four is imperative, isn't it? And that's where the Sharks, got back, finally found that mojo. And sometimes you just got to get out of your comfort zone and get away from things. And I'm pretty sure that's what Fitzgibbon did. So, important win that for me.
Sully, 3 games to come to today, 1 tomorrow for the holiday. King's birthday here. Now, what about Riley's got the markets for you? But what are you going to make us a quid out of? We've got the Storm and the Knights. We've got the Panthers and the Sea Eagles, and the Bulldogs and the Eels tomorrow.
Yeah, 3 interesting games. Not many sides have beaten the Storm 2 games in a row, and the Newcastle Knights have, which is an interesting game there. But they go to Amy. They've still got a few out, don't forget. There's still no Pappenhausen, there's no Munster. So Harry Grant will back up. That's the thing. He didn't play an enormous amount of minutes in Origin. So I'm more than happy to go to Storm, boys. But this game's the one that really intrigues me. Earlier in the year, the Sea Eagles towed up the Panthers at their home ground. And we know the Panthers got beat last week against the Dragons. So, yeah, massive game. Liam Martin won't play. So the onus is really on this Panthers side to suffocate a Sea Eagles side. I know Tom Trbojevic isn't there, but still they've got some firepower out wide. So I'll go the Panthers 1-12, but I'll do my little thing. And tomorrow, mate, massive crowd at Acor. Bulldogs taking on the Eels. We know the Eels bounced back last week. It's Clint Gutherson's 200th tomorrow. He came back. Moses came back. They were good. This is a big. All eyes will be on the Bulldogs. We know how improved they've been this year. So this is their time to shine in the sun. So, yeah, looking at them, I'm going to go the Storm 5+ margin. The Panthers 1-12. So the Panthers 1-12, and the Bulldogs just to win. So we go 5+. Panthers 1-12. Bulldogs just win. They're the outsiders. 8.63. And
like it.
I love a try. Love a try scorer one, Brad. I'm going to do 2 actually.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, load the gut. This is not. Let's go. Oh, this is a short one. Let's go. Xavier Coates from the Storm. Tania Taruba from the Panthers. He's been dry. And then we'll go Stevie Crichton from the Bulldogs. Now, that's 7.16. But this one's for Brad. He loves the big boppers. So,
I love the big bopper.
Brad, I'm going Big Nelson, Asafa Solomona, into Sean Lane, 2 metre Shawnee. That's $16.88.
Boy, I like it. Beautiful.
There you go. 7.16 for the first one there as well. Xavier Coates and Taruba, $7.16 anytime try scorers as well. Some big games to look forward to today, Sal. That's for sure and certain.
Yeah, no, I think it is. I think tomorrow's a big one as well. And I think there'll be 40,000, 50,000 there tomorrow, which is... it's a big crowd for NRL. I had an argument with a bloke the other day, actually. He was an AFL man, Brad. I didn't have an argument. We just had a heated discussion.
Heated debate.
He was trying to tell me why the crowds... he's going, you must be embarrassed of your crowds compared to AFL. I said, mate, you're off your head. I said, the bottom line, the AFL's a great game live. It's a bigger ground. We're a rectangular sport. That's why it's probably a better game to watch on TV.
Closer to it. Yeah. Hey, before you go, can you go on Ancestry.com and see if Xavier Coates is related to Mahatma Coates?
Mate, I've seen the size of it. I don't think so.
Good on you, Sully. Have a great day, mate.
You too, boys, and just on the road to Sydney. Stay safe.
Saving ground on the inside ahead of Scarlet Oak at the 400. Oceans of Energy is in front. Looming up on the outside is Sox Nation. 2 lengths away. Third is Our Gold Hope running home. And coming through there is Mayor of Mount Buller. But Sox Nation's in front. The outside is Our Gold Hope. It's out after Sox Nation. Sox Nation the inside. Our Gold Hope. Our Gold Hope and Sox Nation. Sox Nation just in front near the line. And Sox Nation's won from Our Gold Hope. 3 lengths away. Third third was Miss Jolene, photo fourth, Mayor of Mount Buller, All Kind Words, then coming Molly Knickers, followed further back by...
Well, there you have it. You don't see him win too often at that price, Bradley, especially in a Group 1 Queensland Oaks, the win of Sox Nation there yesterday for Kieran Maher. And we're catching up with stable foreman Jack Turnbull on the Aftermath this morning, and we've got him on the line now. Very good morning, Jack.
Good morning. How are you?
Terrific, mate. Yeah, going very well. I'm sure you're going much better there yesterday with the stable able to chalk up another Group 1 win with Sox Nation, which, according to the market, was a big surprise, Jack. Was it as much of a surprise for you?
Yeah, look, it was. She's been very consistent, but in lesser grade, and she's been up for a long time, which is a testament to the stable. But in her last run up in Sydney, our racing manager in Sydney sort of alluded to the fact that she was forward and off a hot pace, and given that, it probably bodes well to step her up in trip if you had a softer time up in front. So it worked out perfectly. The race there was 150 to 1 shot in front of her, and then she just had to suck off it, and it really developed into a race which suited her.
Jack, congratulations, Brad Hardie, mate. Great to talk to you. And how long? This horse has been up for about over a year. I mean, and it's been in various locations, hasn't it?
It has, yeah. So she's been in work around 13 months, to be honest.
Wow.
And I think she's been to every setup, all bar single, I believe. So yeah, she's to herself. Very, very tough. She's resilient. She's obviously sound. Has a good constitution, but we've just flicked her between Ballarat, Cranbourne, Sydney, and our various locations within those areas. And it's just kept her mentally active. It's kept her interested, and we've got a huge result yesterday.
Yeah, she's obviously very, very durable, Jack, this horse, Sox Nation. I think I remember I was working in here, actually, when she won back in November of last year, I believe, at Sandown, when she absolutely bolted in over, it was either the 1,500 metres or the mile. I'm looking here now. Yeah, the 1,500 metres, John Allen rode her that day. Has stepping her up to this sort of trip always been, I guess, the plan for her or the blueprint?
It has, yeah. Look, a mile and a quarter we were dabbling with. Even personally, I thought 22 might just stretch her, but 3-year-old filly, they're still developing, and you don't know until you try. So she had the mould, and she's been ultra consistent. I think she's run 3/4 in a row, and before that ran in the Gold Vobis Reef back at Caulfield. So we had to give it a go. Sharif's been very willing in terms of letting us try, and yeah, we pulled off the ultimate yesterday.
Jack, Ryan Maloney's got a great set of hands, hasn't he? But even I was watching him, and I thought at the 150, she looked like she was going up and bobbing up and down on the one spot. I thought, 101, our goal, hope to go past. But the spirit to win in any professional athlete, you can't train that, can you? You got to have it.
You got to have it. Yeah, she wants to be there. She's tough. She's not overly big either. She's just a little bulldog. So when she was out in front and it looked like her run was ended, when that horse brushed up on her inside, I think it was, she actually then rallied and come on again. And that's when we were carrying on in the mounting yard, because she looked beaten, and off the canvas she's picked up, and you're not just winning any race, you're winning a race with a lot of history. It's got Group 1 status, and it's worth a lot of money.
Speaking with Jack Turnbull, stable foreman for Kieran Maher, who chalked up, yes, another Group 1 win for the stable there yesterday with Sox Nation in that Group 1 Queensland Oaks. Jack, we'll head across to Flemington, where the camp had a really successful day there yesterday as well. But, gee, you've found one in Berkshire Breeze, it's fair to say.
Yeah, we have, yep. We ran him over a short trip in his first Australian start in the Greys race. He was solid, but obviously he was just far too short. But he returned well at Caulfield, really put his hand up at Cranbourne. He ran a very good figure there over 2,070 grade. And we were up in trip, up in class, but his best European form's over 2,400. And you had to take it a little bit on trust. We knew the horse was fitting well, etc. But to go out there and do what he did yesterday, it's what it's all about. And Ethan's had a lot to do with the gelding. been on him in various gallops. He's jumped him out, and he was very confident he would run well and win, but to do it like that, I think it took him by surprise as well.
It's pretty difficult to step up in class and win, let alone win in the manner in which he did there yesterday, Jack. What are the plans for this horse looking a little bit more longer term from yesterday?
Yeah, so long term, like into the spring would be, say, a Bart Cummings. I mean, in the short term, you're probably having a go at the Series final, which is in 3 weeks, and that would just bump up his handicap a little bit more. He should be low 80s off the back of that. So, yeah, we've still got a little bit of room there before spring. We'll be mindful of his handicap as such, but ultimately he'll be 2,400 in a perfect world during a Caulfield Cup, but who's to say if he doesn't win a Bart, then you could probably try him at 2 mile.
A couple of other winners. We'll talk about those quickly. You rounded off the day down at Flemington in race 9. Veloce Caro, Celine Gaudray, perfectly timed run down the straight 6.
Yeah, he's a gelding that's just getting better and better, to be honest. Does a lot of work down at the beach. Probably not the best moving horse, but you don't have to gallop him a lot. He's very effective down the straight, which is a very good attribute. And last 2 runs have been career best. There's a similar race in 2 weeks back at Flemington, so he'll go back to the beach on Monday and play around on the water, and we won't do a lot with him. But, yeah, he's come of age. I guess where we're at, we're going to probably just tackle open handicaps, some finals. There wouldn't be anything sort of too illustrious, but the group that's in him, including Travis Strong, he had one of the best days of racing he's ever had at the track, and he was in extra brute yesterday. So it just says a lot about winning a race at Flemington and who you're a part of it with.
Piggyback at Randwick as well. Jack obviously handled those heavy conditions there very well yesterday.
She did, and she's come out of a similar race, or the same race as Sox Nation. So I know Joe and Adam and Kieran have a bit of time to piggyback, and yeah, ran good last start, but got back to winning ways yesterday and put his hand up. So be interesting to see where we go now with that horse. We'll have a discussion on Monday post races, but yeah, it's just fantastic to get a winner in 3 different states.
Jack, you got 6 runners heading to the races today at Swan Hill. Also 3 runners in the Swan Hill Cup in Ascension, Juniper and Flash Flood. Can you give us a strong push for any of those stable runners heading to the races there this afternoon?
Yep, we've got a good hand, to be honest. Nuts and Bolts has been running well in town. He just has a tendency to be slowish out of the gates and not as quick into stride as you'd want. So if Johnny can manage to change that and he can hold a spot 2 or 3 pairs back, he's very capable of winning. I think he's 350 in the market. Core's been running consistently in this grade. We've put blinkers on him. Similar case. He's there to win if he copes with the blinkers and can get a good run in transit. The 3 boys in the Cup, Judapel ran an average race last start at Sandown. Could have been track. It was a bit firm that day, and he got well back in the field. So hopefully the ground today, it's had a bit of traffic. It's chopped up, I would imagine, being 3rd day of a carnival, and it might present softish, even though it's rated a good 4, and that's what he would like. Flash Flood was good in the Wongoon first up, and Ascension's going really well, albeit hasn't been shown on his exposed form. He's one that if he got his way in front and rolled along, he could definitely take out this race.
6 runners heading to Swan Hill today, including 3 in the Cup there. Jack, congratulations once again on the win of Sox Nation in that Queensland Oaks yesterday, and thanks for giving us a bit of your time on the aftermath this morning. No
problem. Thank you.
There you go, Jack Turnbull joining us there on the aftermath, stable foreman for Kieran Mahu. You'd think, Bradley, they might have another cup to add to the...
oh, yeah.
To add to the shelf a little bit later on this afternoon. 3 runners heading to that Swan Hill Cup this Arvo.
Well, I've got one that might beat him, but that's in my Sunday.
There we go.
We'll just have to wait and see.
We'll keep that powder dry. We might stick with the racing there at Eagle Farm from yesterday. Certainly concerns our next guest, that is for sure and certain, as we catch up with Chris Nelson. A very good morning, Chris O.
Good morning, Rylie. Good morning, Brad. Great to chat, guys.
Good on you, Chris. We'll work through them in chronological order. Now, please explain to me what Jamie Carr was doing in race 3.
Hang on, I'm just looking for race 3. Where is it? We're going to kick off with race 3, and she was riding Amelius up the front. Yeah, well, good run. And I'd say, Brad, you probably should have won the race, but that doesn't help put food on the table. I know that. Look, went forward, got taken on by... Well, you probably should be blaming Nikita Berryman, because she's the one that took you on with Italian Dancer. And the run was just huge to be able to hold on and run second, beat the rest of them by a decent enough margin. So, look, didn't go forward on debut, didn't go forward second start, but went forward yesterday. So I don't know. You'll have to ask Jamie that, but all I can say is the run was a very, very good one.
Hey, Chris, so before we get stuck into the brunt of the remainder of those races at Eagle Farm yesterday, I just wanted to get a quick word on how did that track play there yesterday?
Well, actually, I was just reading through a steward's report this morning, and a couple of the jockeys did say it raced a little firm. It started off really well. They were sticking to the fence. It was, good, normal racing that we like to see. But they did start to get off the fence a little bit in those latter races. So I thought it played well. I was happy with it. I'm not a fan of these soft tracks with heaps of give in them. So I like a bit of, not firmness. I don't want to, injure the horses, but I like to be racing on top of the ground. So I was quite happy with it. We should get a similar surface next week, because there is no rain forecast at all.
Steady Ready was able to take out race number 4 on the program. Sorry, Brad, to butt in there. The Ladbrokes Lightning Handicap. And this horse, he certainly appreciated getting back on top of the ground there yesterday, Chris O.
Yeah, he did. And look, the tempo on the map was quite strong in this race, but it didn't pan out that way. And look, Ubiquitous led. Flaming Conquest was the one that sat wide, no cover. Steady Ready sat second, and Golden Boom sat fourth and was wide. So we're talking about 3 of the first 4 in the running, finishing 3 in the first 4 placings. So didn't work out that way. Steady Ready, very, very heavily backed. He's a gelding now. He was able to get away from them in the straight and keep on going. He was a bit of a speedy squib back in his early days, but he's gone on from there. I thought Golden Boom was good again, racing wide. And I do not want to... You could talk about Amelius all you like, Brad, but I do not want to talk about Shalaz Moment, who ran 4th and should have won the race comfortably. Couldn't get a crack at them at all until probably 80 metres from the line and absolutely flew. So into the black books goes Shalaz Moment for sure.
Race 5, well, you can thank James McDonald. The Sears camp, we're going to speak to Maddy after 7, had a big half an hour in Yellow Brick. He's a determined horse, isn't he? But the ride won the race.
100%. You nailed it there. I mean, he's a horse that's had excuses, he's had bad luck, he's just had all these things go wrong for him. And we knew when J-Mac went on, well, we're a chance here. He's probably going to win this race. And it was a very winnable race, looking at the opposition. He didn't have a great deal to beat on paper. And the ride, he took off at about the 500-metre mark. And look, listening to J-Mac post-race, he said, I'm surprised at the turn of foot. I didn't think that this horse would have such a turn of foot. And I got to the front way too early. And I was a sitting shot in the straight. He was speaking glowingly about Yellow Brick after the race. And if he gets in with 51, obviously J-Mac can't ride. But if this horse gets into the Stradbroke with 51 next week, the way J-Mac was talking, I reckon he's got a real chance. He just might be the one we've forgotten all about. And no way he won't know himself. He's a horse that handles Eagle Farm. He's in form. And if James is wrapping him up with that turn of foot, he's not without a chance, guys.
He's always informed this bloke, Chris. So he's had a remarkable career. We are, as Brad touched on, going to catch up with Maddy Sears a little bit later on in the program. But you love these racing stories like Yellow Brick, don't you, Chris?
Yeah, you do. I mean, he's a horse that he promised a lot early on. He won a big race at Toowoomba. He's just been a victim of bad starts, bad luck, maybe bad rides. And yesterday was D-Day for him. He's never far away. He never puts in a bad run, but he just always had the excuse or two, and he was starting to become a bit of an enigma. Probably not an enigma as such, but he was getting that sort of reputation or heading towards it. So I'm glad he won yesterday. And the Raps obviously were very, very strong. And he's a horse I really could put into Stradbroke calculations now if he gets in.
Well, Well, race 6, this is where I'm really talking through my kick now, because the double was from the Neesham stable was Amelius into Ostraka. It just won with a leg in the air.
Yeah, surprised me a little, Brad. I mean, the benchmark form out of New South Wales, I didn't think it'd be as strong as it was here. But look, just camped on the leaders. The leaders collapsed. Tiger Shark, Moravia and Rose Noir. Ostraka was just behind them. Another beautiful ride here from Blake Shin, and just raced away in the straight. He pushed a button at the 300 and see you later. So I'm sure Ostraka will be hanging around for other races during the carnival. There'll be something for him in a couple of weeks, you would think. Inhibitions was okay. Hedged ran on late, but they were no match. And Little Fortune here, I like this filly. She'll win a race sooner or later. She'll be back in the winners list, but yeah, no match for Ostraka. You had the right mail there. You're a bit stiff on the day. Nothing new there, though.
You don't have to,
salt in the wound there, Bradley.
Be dead.
No, that's right.
Hey,
You don't have to say anything.
Chris, I was at the
No.
I was at the footy yesterday, so I wasn't following the quaddie legs at Eagle Farm too closely live at the time, but I was reading a lot of social media, and there were plenty pretty keen to be with this favourite in race number 7 on the program, La Creek, and she got the job done for the punters, that's for sure.
She did, and look, if she was on song, she was going to win this race by a good margin, because under the set weights or the conditions of the race, she was beautifully placed at 57. I mean, she had links on these. She's a dual Group 1 winner in New Zealand. She ran 4th in the Empire Rose, a Group 1. She beat home some nice types then. It's just a matter of whether she was going as well now as she had in the past. And I was walking past the TV yesterday, and I didn't even pick this up early, but she had the bar plates put on, which is something that no one really liked. So
no, never ideal.
There was a few question marks there about La Creek, and I thought at about the 300-metre mark she was in a ton of trouble, because J-Mac was at her and she was really only just grinding away. But then she steadily let down, and she was too good for them over the final part of the race. She raced away to score by a length. So she wouldn't be going back 1,600, 1,400 to the Tiara. No way known. That wouldn't suit her. She needs to go up in distance. So if we see her in something around 2,000 metres, I think she's probably going to prove hard to beat. But that was her race yesterday, and she got it done.
Race 8 was the Oaks. We just spoke with Jack Turnbull from the Mar Stable. Sox Nation, geez, tough as teak.
I've gone back and had a look at their form for this race, I think, 20 times, and I still couldn't have her. I just could not have her. I mean, her form was okay, but she'd gone 1,800 to 2,200. Looking at her sectionals, they were average. She wasn't really finishing off her races, any real dash. So for me, anyone that found Sox Nation, they deserve a gold medal. Anyone that found the trifecta deserves a gold medal as well, because they were all big odds. The favourites never, ever got into it. Mare of Mount Buller, every possible chance. Scarlet Oak, well, she was gone on the home turn. She was beaten 51 lengths, had some respiratory issues, and probably was over the top after all. What do you say? Molly Bloom didn't do a lot, probably had enough also. The run of the race was probably Kind Words, who sat wide all the way and was still running on late. That's 3 good runs, Brad. Kind Words has put in her last 3 starts, and I don't think she's finished in the placings.
Final race on the program there, the Star Morton Cup Group 2, and I've always had an opinion of this horse. I know many people have as well. He probably hasn't. He's been a little bit hit and miss throughout his career, Chris, that's for sure. And certain Valana from the Good Barrier able to get the job done there in the last under J-Mac.
Yeah, and he's in the Stradbroke with 52.5 with Tim Clark to ride. There's no penalty out of this race. J-Mac was hoping that they might bump the weights up a fair bit so he could ride, but it's too late now. Timmy Clark will be a happy man, and Valana, this is what I think he's promised for a while. He just put them to bed really quickly in the straight, showed a terrific turn of foot, won by over 3.5 lengths. He was most impressive. You really can't wrap anything else out of that race. It was all about Valana, and he'll go on to the Stradbroke, and he'll certainly be hard to beat. But that was 5 for J-Mac yesterday, guys. And I was thinking, I wonder why we even bother to do form. I mean, he's doing the form for us. Everything he rides, that should be your top tip, because he never has a bad day.
Nah. He gives it every chance, doesn't he? Chris, what about horses to follow, and anything for us at the Sunny Coast today?
I've got Amelius down as a horse to follow, Brad. You'll appreciate that.
Thanks for that, Chris. Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah.
Shalars moment out of race 4. Now, from a Stradbroke perspective, I certainly think Yellow Brick's a chance should he get in, and Valana's got to be a massive chance as well. So we'll see the barrier draw, I think, Tuesday night. We'll see how we go after that. The Sunny Coast today, we're on a soft track, beautiful day. Race 3, number 7, Action King, and race 5, number 5, Victory Win should both run really well, guys. Fingers crossed.
Beautifully done, Chris. Always a pleasure to catch up with you. I was just trying to get a look at that Stradbroke market, but that has been taken down at the moment with Tab Touch, so hopefully that is up a little bit later on today or a bit later on in the week.
I think Antino is still your favourite at around the $6 mark, so I don't know. I'm not sure about Antino. I wasn't know if I was impressed in that last run. A couple of others yesterday impressed me a little bit more going forward, I think.
What about the JJ Atkins, Chris, before we let you go? Is broadsiding just too hard to beat?
Absolute moral on paper.
The M word.
I think it was even money this time last week. Certainly not even money anymore.
$1.70 currently with Tab Touch.
That's still a good price. Only bad luck can beat him, or if something goes wrong. He's got J-Mac on as well. He ticks every single box broadsiding. So, I think that's a good price.
Yep, there's plenty of good raps on that juvenile from the Godolphin stable. Chris, always a pleasure to catch up. Thanks for giving us a bit of your time this morning.
It's a pleasure, Rylie. Great to chat to you. Have a good day, guys. See you, Brad.
Chris Nelson joining us there on the program this morning, and we'll go straight over to Flemington.
Oh, okay.
Across the border.
Yep. I've been worried about him. Because the last time I saw a picture on X, which is actually Twitter, he was in the fetal position sucking his thumb.
I was going to say, hopefully this Sunday goes a little bit better for our next guest, Racetrack Ralphy. Ralphie, very good morning.
Greetings from the Bahamas. I took a multi, flew on over 90 into Sox Nation, winning the Queensland Open.
Never have to work again.
Good on you, Ralph. You gotta keep your sense of humour, my friend. Nice day.
Thank you for the D's you do.
Nice day at Flemington yesterday, and Wonder Boy. There was a nice tip for it around, and Damien Lane couldn't do any more on Pisces, but Wonder Boy hit the line hard.
He's not a bad trainer, Jerome Hunter. Usually has a small team, and they're very competitive. So got off to a winning start. I should but just start off by saying Flemington absolutely perfectly. Every horse had a chance if they were ridden properly. So got a really good conditions yesterday. So nice debut from Wonder Boy, and we've got a good grasp because Pisces is well exposed and honest and competitive in Sydney. So I think that's a good start today, but probably need to see a bit more from these 2-year-olds at this time of year.
Yeah, he's good at getting them to go fresh, isn't he, Jerome Hunter?
Absolutely, yeah, for sure.
Particularly first up is certainly his bread and butter, that is for sure. Race number 2 on the program, over the 1,400 metres for the fillies and mares. Fancify was a nice winner there, Ralphie. Pretty convincing.
Well, she had a good day, Turnbull. We'll get to the other one later. But, just really good front-running ride there. Smashed them. Didn't run any time at Caulfield because it didn't need to. It was, wasn't really pressured. That race started at the 400-metre mark. So pretty much everything else was out of play early. I don't want to forgive more mum 3 wide, no cover, because we'll get to another one that covered ground. That was no real penalty yesterday. But I think it might be better back to 1,200 metres. But, all honest, Fancify. No reason it can't win again at this time of year.
Race 3 was over the mile, and Rise at Dawn too good. But I think the second horse probably should have won.
Oh, my lordy, you reckon I was in the fetal position after the D's?
This one did the rounds on social media yesterday, Ralphie. I didn't see the race live, but all I could see was #Craig everywhere I looked yesterday afternoon.
Oh, my goodness. So, look, my mindset yesterday was 2 horses I liked, was Craig and Berkshire Breeze, and thought all the favourites were unders in the quaddy, which they were. So, this is a great caper, isn't it? So, Rise at Dawn, nicely ridden. That was its bounce off a little freshen up from that brutal Alistair Clark stakes, but then it just got every chance by Celine Gaudray. Craig, it's a nice horse. It's a really nice horse. That Bendigo win was real, and what it did yesterday. Now that was our chance to get a price, but it's one that we can really have some confidence will emerge out of this meeting.
Sounds like you're back North Melbourne too, do you, Alistair Clarkson?
Yeah, exactly. Nearly said the Alistair Clarkson stakes.
You mentioned Ralphie. You were pretty keen on Berkshire Breeze, and this is obviously a European import for the Mar stable, who's progressing very nicely. The grey.
Yeah, from the Mar stable. So I wonder how much it's going to win the Melbourne Cup by. So I don't. Yeah, how would you put a ceiling on it? So,
we just spoke to Jack Turnbull, and he did say that looking longer term for this horse, the Bar Cummings is a race they do want to get him to.
Wow. Yeah. Well, you just can't put a ceiling on it. I mean, it just had the one run in the spring, and it was in the market when it was in Melbourne Cup Day. It was on Melbourne Cup Day, sorry. And sound return at Caulfield, just smashed him at Cranbourne and then trucked along in that Cranbourne trial, hence my confidence, and ran accordingly. So if that's what he's targeting, it's just ridiculous to put a ceiling on that stable and with a horse with his profile. So looking forward to seeing where it can go.
One for our man, Marty Young. Obviously thinking about him a little bit this morning. Queen Takes King, a nice run back there in third, Ralphie.
Yeah, it was okay. It was, but they're all going to race against each other. But you wouldn't think the winner would be sticking around in this class.
Race 5, the Corson Stable's going really well at the moment, and named in Sophie, our lovely producer's honour, Lady in Pink.
Absolutely, and Jayla Kennedy. Well, 3 wide, no cover, no problem. So it came off that really fast run at Sandown. The hydrogen power didn't progress. She did, and just let the horse roll. And conversely, look at Steel City back in the field. It was just Steel Run, rather. It was too far out of its ground. So I think Steel Run's the one that we can follow in, and then it's going to peak at 2,400. So Steel Run from this, but they are pretty well, even these bunch of 3-year-old stayers.
First leg of the quaddie, Ralphie, over the 2,000 metres as well. It was a pretty bunch finish, but this horse, Virtuous Circle, the winner, always shown a fair bit of staying promise and able to get the job done there yesterday under Ethan Brown.
Yeah, it was not a fun watch, guys. Bel Toro was a nice price, wasn't it? Virtuous Circle, super wide. This was a case that the anchor drop came on, and when the anchor drop comes on mid-race, then the slingshot runners get involved, and that was its chance to pick him off. I heard after race Liam Howley saying, just finally found its right race and have been racing in tougher class, which is very fair. Bel Toro black booked it from that Sandown run, and gave a huge sight for Jayla. I think it just floated 300 metres out front, just left in front. And Milford's ready to win, though, again. And Silent Sorrento, she's honest, but just limited. And I wouldn't want to be taking that type of price about her again. So I think Milford's the one we can follow.
Race 7 and over 1,100 for the 3-year-olds. Right, the party got the money. Maybe one to follow, the third horse?
Yeah, it was sound, but Right to Party, we black booked it in our service from South Australia. It was a terrific run, and they just got it right again. I think they're going to the Creswick. I think it's going to take a power of beating. Marble 9, follow it round the bend as well. The good money for it, floated up the straight a bit. It was a really nice run too. So you can just trust the first two here, full stop.
Race number 8, Ralphie, Georgie Get Mad. We're going to catch up with Denis Pagan a little bit later on the program, able to get the win there from the breeze at a nice price.
Oh, well, yeah, the Kangas double, eh? So good on the training legend, and Tatum Ball couldn't wrestle the horse because they announced a change of tactics and she couldn't hold it. So let it stride outside LOU. Damien Lane gave it absolutely every chance, and George Get Mad got the money. The others back in the field were out of play. Maybe Lounge Bar Ruby on a wetter track and a faster tempo can win, but probably the horse to follow out of the race into the prep was a nice return there from Lafargue.
Veloce Caro won the last, and horses to follow.
Veloce Caro was good. Just again, straight track form there. First 4 home, it all run well. If not winning up the straight, horses to follow. Amongst the winners, Berkshire absolutely, and Right to Party. And of those who got beaten, Craig, Milford, and Lafargue.
Good luck tomorrow, Ralphie.
Go Days.
There we go. Racetrack Ralphy joining us on the program, racetrackralphy.com.au, as he does every single Sunday morning. And I'm sure this Sunday will be a little bit more stress-free for Ralphie Bradley than last Sunday may have been. That is for sure and certain. But a big King's Birthday clash. Looking forward to that tomorrow for the D's taking on the Pies there as well on that public holiday over in Melbourne. It's 7 o'clock. You're listening to the Aftermath at 17 degrees in Perth. We're about to get to the news. Bradley, I think it's a big night, particularly for that Bombers midfield.
Yeah, it is, because quite clearly Cripps and Walsh in particular are on fire. They're flying. They're the barometer for Carlton. Michael Voss was very good in the coach's box last week, as we know, but those two in particular, they're the barometer for this team.
Does the Setterfield come back in and do a job?
Could do, but because Merritt's been going extremely well himself this year. He's a little bit but he's not he's what do they call them, bulls or whatever they drives me mad. But he's not that type of player. He's not a bullocker, but he has been playing really good football. But he's going to need a hand. Durham's probably going to get a job. But now where does he go? I suggest he probably goes to Walsh. I think that's probably because he's quite a big lad, Durham, but I don't think he's big enough to take Cripps. And Cripps has been in great form. So so Essendon are going to have to work their way through this, but I'm not selling out on them. I reckon they've been going really, really well. Even though Gold Coast got them up there last week, they played some pretty good footy.
They had their chances last week, that's for sure.
Yeah, but they've been up for a while too. They'd had a really, really good 5 or 6 weeks, including the draw on Anzac Day. So, they're not out of this by a long way. It's really up to can the Mackays play on each other? That'll be one of the sidelights, I'm sure. And can Langford and Co and Peter score at the other end? That's going to be the key because they're going to get a chance. There's no doubt about that. But Wiedering's playing really good footy down back for Carlton. He holds them together. Their midfields are very strong. That's why I'm leaning to Carlton. As I say, if it was going to be wet, I was all over Carlton. But the fact that it's going to be dry, it's still going to be a little good skill level for Essendon to be in this game.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I still think Carlton will show they're just a rung above Essendon as a footballing side at the moment. Marty and I differed in the opinion, Brad, that I thought if Durham or a Setterfield was going to go to someone, I thought you'd have to go to Walsh, but Marty was of the opinion that you'd go to Cripps and you'd let Walsh sort of do his thing. But I think Walsh is probably the player you'd go to out of that pair. But I think last week for the Bombers, if they give the ball back to Carlton the manner in which they did it last week, their turnover numbers have been relatively high over the last few weeks. Carlton are a team who are going to hurt you if you do give them that ball back, particularly in the front half.
Sure, but they've been very authoritative at Essendon coming out of their back half and Ridley back into the side being a ripper. Mackay's been really steady. Laverde's playing well. Martin's getting plenty of the football. McGrath worries me. I mean, he's a good player, but he worries me. If they can get a marking type forward, smaller forward on him, I reckon that will go serve them well so they don't have to go through Mackay and Charlie Kerner all of the time. So that's one to watch. It's probably a pity that they didn't have Martin out there at the moment for. Martin might be the one. He might be the one. He might be the Martin from Jack Martin. Carlton. I'm talking about.
I was surprised.
He would have been the one for McGrath for me.
Yeah, I was surprised to see, we were speaking about it during the week, but obviously with how, I guess, sore he looked at the end of that game last week, I was surprised to see Cole Langford actually get up for the game this week. He must have ticked all the boxes during the week, but I thought, given how proppy he did look post-game last week, that he was in a bit of trouble. So it's going to be interesting to see how he goes tonight, especially off the back of a very quiet game last week.
Yeah, well, you're still playing, so you understand. But at the AFL, the elite level, they don't train a lot anyway. And it's about rehab. But he wasn't right, as you say. So maybe just those extra few days to overcome a little niggle. And who hasn't got one at this time of the year? I mean, it's only sort of getting towards the halfway mark. But yeah, if you're running out there and you're feeling good, completely, you haven't been putting in.
The other game today as well, Brad, the Swans, any concern for you off the bye? They haven't traditionally been that good off the back of a week off.
No, but I think there's one thing about John Longmire. He'll keep him up to the mark. And I think you've got to worry a little bit about Geelong. I mean, they were lucky to get out of jail, and they franked the form really, Richmond, haven't they? They go over there and win the other night. So, Geelong will need to change their way, because one thing about that midfield of Sydney, they know how to find the ball, they know how to win the ball, they know how to kick goals, and so do their forwards. And their back line, if they hold Cameron and Hawkins, who've been relatively disappointing in the last month, 5 weeks, the pair of them, I think Sydney get the job done. But even if they get themselves in a bit of a tangle with a slow start, they are one team who can eradicate and extract themselves from that.
Aside from being just great footballers, the large majority of them in that Sydney midfield, they're just such good. They've just got such great balance in that midfield. Their transition run is outstanding. You got players like Errol Goulden spending 100% game time playing as an on-baller, which is unheard of in the modern game, Brad, to be fair. So it certainly puts into perspective why they're going as well as they are.
Sitting in my seat as a special comments man, as I say, you've got to get the ball. It doesn't matter which football team you play in, Rylie. You've got to get the ball into the hands of the good field kickers. Yep. And who's better than Goulden and Heaney and Warner?
No shortage of them at Sydney.
No, you really want to make sure you've got those. Mate, before we just go on, can I just pass on my sincerest condolences? Well, obviously, we lost Toddy earlier in the week, JT, John Todd. That was a sad one. But Tommy Grilicic, another legend from South Fremantle, passed away yesterday after battling illness. So to Tommy's family, young Mark, and the rest of them, a famous name at down at South. You know, we all know George. Remember, George was outstanding, but Tommy was the games record holder at South Fremantle, 258 games for 27 years before Marty Atkins went past him, and he also played in Adelaide as well. So, Tommy was a fantastic fellow. Was a runner for Mel Brown when I was playing under Mel at South, and, he crammed a lot into his life, Tommy. So, Vale, Tommy Grilicic, and God Lord, St. Peter, isn't he in for some fun times there now with George and Tommy both up there? God almighty, you can imagine.
Yeah, well said, Brad, and sending our thoughts to Tommy's family and also the South Fremantle Football Club there as well. Now, another big talking point from yesterday, Brad, and we're going to catch up with Peter Fernie not too far away, but, gee, the Hawks train just continues to roll on.
Yeah, I tipped him, as you know, on with the boys on Thursday, and I was quietly confident about it. The market really firmed up, didn't it? It was I think it was $1.90 each or two in the end for Tab Touch, and they got it right because it was right down to the wire. And I've just been a little worried about the GWS Giants, but Hawthorn played really well down there at Captain Gronawagon Stadium, I call it, UTAS. And so it's going really, really well, the Hawks and their style of footy. But yeah, it was a little bit of an eerie one towards the end. We know Sicily got bumped over, or did he get bumped over? He got slightly nudged and he fell over. And
it's not a free kick. You can't be paying that a free kick. And then we saw one, and we saw one in the West Coast game late as well. It was the exact same thing. It was very minimal contact,
yeah. But
is that the rule, though? I don't understand. What is the interpretation there? Because is it any contact post getting rid of the football?
Well, that's what they're trying to get, and that's ridiculous. I mean, it's a physical game, and there are times when you've got to put pressure on, either referred or actual pressure. And, I didn't like it. I'd love to speak to our umpire man, because I think, and then the interaction between the umpires, because the ball went out on the full, as you know, Riley, off the boot of Sicily, and they paid it down the ground. Well, anyway, the umpires were a bit confused, and so were we, because you're sort of saying, okay, yeah, free kick down the ground, it's gone out on the full. Oh, okay. And they sort of conversed for about, 3 seconds. You happy with that? Yeah, free kick down there? Okay, right, I'll take it. Are you happy with that? That's not sort of what I want to hear.
Yeah.
If I'm a GWS Giants player, and then of course, and it was line ball between Marby or Chol, who's a left footer, and Luke Bruce, who's a dynamite round the goal, round the corner, who was going to take the kick. And in the end, Luke Bruce, like most good small forwards, would have beaten Usain Bolt to the ball. And he did. And he kicked the goal and won the game.
Yep. It's an interesting one. It's an interesting one. I'll tell you one thing about that umpire's boss. If you've heard, I'm sure you've certainly heard him talk over the last couple of weeks, Brad. But he'll talk for half an hour, and you'll leave the conversation none the wiser.
Yeah, no, he's a terrific bloke, Steve, don't worry. But most of the umpires are. And look, they're working to the parameters they're given, particularly by the AFL. And the AFL have got as much time as anybody, because, they're all under instruction and it all comes from above. And, I just don't get it. I mean, let them, what I'd like to see, and look, he's always been a nemesis for me, but Razor Ray, he has got a great take. He's on radio over here bi-weekly, every fortnight. And it's fantastic. It's so cleansing and so informative about what they're actually thinking, you know what I mean, in a situation. And it's like the old days on World of Sport with Mick Cronin. What's your decision? And you actually get some clarity as to what is going on and what's going on. Because they've got to adjudicate 150 things at a time.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing, obviously, they've concentrated on the holding the ball, for the last couple of weeks. There's been a slight tweak in that, but there's also push in the backs. There's also grappling, as we saw in the Gold Coast and St Kilda game. There's so many things going on, and now this one is the next one, because you know, we're sort of, it's like follow the bouncing ball, you know, or the what, you know, like,
and players
bouncing from one to the other.
And players are smart, Brad, and being someone who still plays the game, players manipulate these new interpretations. And something I've noticed more than ever this year, particularly at waffle level, is the players that are involved in a tackle really, I guess, almost throwing their head towards the ground when they are tackled to, I guess, lure that dangerous tackle, that slinging tackle, free kick. Players are doing it every game, and umpires are not, I wouldn't say being sucked into it, but because that's exactly what they're told to pay. But players are manipulating the way they're adjudicating those decisions at the moment.
But we still haven't got the incorrect disposal right, have we? I mean, It's just so many grey areas. You know, they pay some and not others, and that serves to the frustration of everybody, including the fans and us watching it on the box or whatever wherever we're taking in the game. You know, it's really, really frustrating, and they've got to get that right. I mean, that's why I was so angry the other night. I mean, in the first quarter, even in the Dogs and Brisbane game, it was 10 free kicks to 2 at quarter time. Now, in the tackle count, where incorrect disposal, 7 free kicks to Brisbane, none to the Dogs. What we hope was tacklers or something. I don't know. Brisbane that good? You just got to wonder. And again, and the other grey area, which infuriates everybody, is the ones they don't pay.
Yep. It's a grey area, and I think it's going to continue to be at this rate, Bradley, that is for sure and certain. Time to get to our first guest on this second hour of the program. He's a very busy man. He's taking a very big team to the races at the KBRC today, that is for sure and certain. We are joined by Peter Fernie on the Aftermath this morning. A very good morning, Peter.
Rylie, Brad, how you going?
Not as busy as you, mate. Seriously, how many horses have we got in today?
19, I've got to do one for Neville, so 20.
There you go. That is a very busy day, Pete, that is for sure and certain. How's the weather out there at Kalgoorlie? I know it's pretty miserable here in Perth this morning at the moment.
I think we had 10 or 12 mil here last night, so it'll be interesting how they all handle the track. They're not really used to it racing out here.
Yep, so a soft track expected there with that news coming from Kalgoorlie, 10 to 12 millimetres. It is pretty wet and miserable here in the metropolitan area this morning as well. We might get stuck into your runners on that program, Peter, as there is no shortage of them, that is for sure and certain. You take a couple of runners to that opening race there, a maiden over the 1,200 metres. You've got the favourite big player. You've also got Elusive Dream on the third line of betting, currently at $4.60, big player $2.15. Who's the pick of this pair in the first?
Well, hopefully big player, because I think I paid too much for him at the sales, and he's been pretty disappointing. He's run some good races, but he's been disappointing as well. But I had to have him first run for me today, so let's hope he shows something here in this race. It's his first start. Elusive Dreams had 22 starts and hasn't won one yet, so I think we'll be all shocked if he does.
Race 2, you got only one in. Edward's Choice, you might be able to have a sandwich.
Wow. I think Edward thinks he's going to have a sandwich. That's how he races too. He doesn't try that hard. He'd sooner be sooner in the bar having a beer, I think. He races to him and then puts his ears back and puts a cue back in the rack and says, that's enough for me, and runs the place. That's him, just to keep his head above water.
Blinkers on today, so just try and maybe sharpen him up a little bit there, Pete.
No, we took him off last week and put visors on him, and he was terrible. So we've just put him back on.
Yep. Okay, race number 3.
So hopefully Lucy makes a difference.
Yep. You've got a couple of runners in race number 3 on the program. You've got the favourite Bolbeck at $2.60, who's been racing very well ever since he joined your stable, Peter. That is for sure and certain. You've also got Hole in One, who is currently a $9 chance according to the market. Bolbeck, obviously the pick of these, you'd suspect he'd be hard to beat there today, Peter?
Yeah, all depends. They forecast a bit of that weather to come in, and I think it's going to be a northwesterly, so Bolbeck races in the first couple, so normally you just got to be careful of the wind here in Cow. If you're going to get some strong winds, it doesn't normally suit the front runner, especially if you're backing a favourite. So I think he should win. All the other things worry him is just if we get a lot of wind and it becomes a back marker's day.
3 in the fourth. You got Dancer Thunder, Ryewood, and Honest Legend going around.
Dancer Thunder was pretty unlucky in Perth. He got trapped 4 wide the trip. The start before he should have won, he got checked, so he's going to be a good chance. The young girl's riding him. She's going to be a really good kid, I think. Ryewood's most probably my best stayer, so it's getting up 1,400. The next start's most probably going to be a best, but I think she could run a really good race today, Ryewood. So, and Honest Legend, he's in the same boat. If the wind comes up, he's not going to be much hope, so he's a leader. So he'll be out in front, and if front runners are winning, I think he's been looking for 1,400. He's some sort of silly chance to have in a trifecta.
Race number 5 in the program, 4 runners for yourself. In that, I'm having a look now, it's an 11-horse field, so you almost make up half of the field there in race number 5, Peter. You have got Dreamtime, Gene, Flying the Flag, Dublin Red and Send 'em. How do we split the 4 of those?
Oh, I think Dreamtime Gene, she's going to go back to Hayden after today. I think she's going to have a few runs down there. I think it's quite a nice horse, Dreamtime Gene. I think she'll make the grade down in Perth eventually. So they're chasing a bit more west speed. They'll take her back. And Flying the Flag, he's on the online auction, so he's going to be moved on. And Dublin Red's having a spell after today. And Send 'em, he's a bit... If he ever put in, I think he's best horse in the race.
Has she been a bit of a head scratcher for you, Pete? I know she's been a filly who's shown plenty of ability at times, but just struggled to, I guess, put it all together on race day, Dublin Red.
She's not like me. She's really skinny. So she doesn't... she's pretty hard to keep the weight on. She's most probably 12 months away from being a fair horse. I think she'll get ground in time. But I just said to Justin, we just got to give her 5 or 6 weeks off and see how she goes, and then she's going to come back up. But I think she'll make the grade eventually. She's just so immature in everything she does.
Race 6, you got 3 in there. Kick a goal, son. That's you and me, Pete. Gluten-free, we're not. And Abloh, the favourite.
Yeah, well, Abloh, we took him to Perth and we're still crying over that. So he wasn't Clint's best ride. But I've only given him 1 run on a wet track, and that was at Northam, and he went horrible. Kick a goal. So if he handles the track, I think he should win. Kick a goal, son, will be hard to beat, but he likes running second. And Gluten's just an old stager who pops up and runs a good race every now and again, so he's always around the mark. So I think Abloh's really hard to beat if he handles the track.
From memory, Pete, the track in that Sky final was pretty rain affected, or maybe not a sort of a bottomless track, but there was certainly some moisture in it, that's for sure, and certain that would, you'd think, give you a bit of confidence that if there is a bit of rain around, he should be okay?
Yeah, well, the time that I didn't worry about that Sky final, it was most probably that when I started him at Northam. I think Mojo's luck beat him. He just didn't go a yard on the wet that day, but I think that, that was bottomless that day, so hopefully it's a bit different today, but he's going really well. Just needs a bit of luck, I think. And the young girl from One, he gets back a bit, so she's going to have to ride a good race, but I think she's got the ability to do that.
Final race on the program there at Kalgoorlie this afternoon. You've got 4 runners to round out the program, so a big race for your camp. You've got Set for Stardom, Twist of Gold, Brazen Empress, who was a nice winner at her first run for your stable, and Secret Attire as well, Peter.
Yeah, well, Brazen Empress was really good. I actually thought it'd win a bit easier, and it just fell over the line. But Tash seemed to think that it needed more ground, but we've drew wide in the 14, so we've gone to the 12. I think it's going to win a fair few races up in Cow. I don't know if it's any better than Cow, but I think it'll go through the grades here. Secret Attire is one we bought really cheap, just as a broodmare, and she's been great since we've got her. All depends what sort of run they get. Twist of Gold, she's... at 1100, she stopped the other day. I think Jade drifted off the fence a little bit and let the stablemate out. Let the stablemate through. The stablemate got through and won the race. I think she would have won if she stayed to the fence. So she's a good chance out in front today with no weight. And Set for Stardom, he was really disappointing first up, so I'm hoping he goes a little bit better. So if I was having a bet, I'd most probably back Secret Attire each way.
Yep, and she was a nice winner last start as well, Peter. No issue from that barrier. She one that is happy to either go back or go forward. She's pretty versatile.
Yeah, she can get... I think she's better off ridden a bit quieter early and then letting her hit the line. We tried her when Luke had her in Perth, ridden on the speed, and she didn't really give you much, so she'll be back behind them and hopefully making ground.
Is she a horse you think can also maybe step up over the next couple of starts and get a bit more ground than the 1200 she races over there this afternoon?
No, definitely I think she will, but she's a bit of a bitch with her head. She throws it around like a... She's not the nicest rider in the world, but she's very well bred, so she'll go to stud shortly anyway. So just got to try and win a few more so she can go to stud, and they've got a free broodmare if she wins a few more.
Who's the best of the a big team you take to the races there today, Pete? That's for sure and certain. Who's the best of them?
No, well, I actually like Rywood and I think Abloh, if he puts his right foot forward, I think he should be really hard to beat. But Rywood, I think she's a really nice horse going forward. I think she gets the right sort of run. She'll be really hitting the line good today.
Rywood goes around in race number 4 on the program, just getting that market up. Currently a $4.20 chance with Tabs Hutch. And in race number 6 on the program, Abloh is the short price favourite in the red, currently at $1.85. Chanel Cooper takes that ride from that inside barrier. We won't keep you any longer, Peter. I know you've got a busy day ahead of you with the team. Thank you very much for joining us in the Aftermath this morning. Peter Fernie joining us there on the Sunday Aftermath. Just the 19, or basically the 20 runners, Brad. He's going to have his hands full, and that'll certainly only get a little bit more difficult if it does start to sort of teeter down with a bit of rain there at Kalgoorlie this afternoon as well, which it looks like there is a fair chance of doing too.
Outstanding, Peter, and the whole family, really. But you must have a great support cast, because I always wonder, when you look at the Mar and Eustace stable, used to be Mar and Eustace, now just Mar. You look at Waller, you look at the big stables, Annabelle Neesham
now,
around the country. You think, how do they keep an eye on all these horses? It's just amazing. And then some of them aren't just at the one race meeting; they're all over the country. So it's an amazing job they do.
They've got a terrific staff as well. They've got great support, behind them.
Absolutely.
I know that for sure and certain. So
to the outside, Place of Gold, Cawdor. He's our Bonneval. Lafargue trying to push through the pack, and down the outside is Lethal Thoughts. It's LOU via the 200 metres, still nursed along, leads by a half length, clicked up now from Georgie Get Mad, who won't go away. It's still LOU with Georgie Get Mad, stride by stride coming, Reinberg to third, Georgie Get Mad, got LOU on the post. And all followed by Reinberg. Next, Lafargue getting tightened up right near the line. In behind those runners was He's Our Bonneval, and then Telbrigar.
Georgie Got Mad. She certainly got the win there yesterday for our next guest here on the second hour of the Sunday Aftermath. A pleasure to be catching up with Denis Pagan after her win there at Flemington yesterday. A very good morning to you, Denis.
Yeah, good morning to you too, Rylie. How you going?
Very, very well.
Bart.
Not as well as
Hello,
you.
Bart Cummings. Hello, Bart Cummings.
We do some with retirement, don't you?
Oh, you're doing it. It's Brad Hardie, mate. How are you, Denis? Good to talk to you, my friend. So, good, yeah. Mate, this horse is going fantastic for you.
Yeah, we still haven't worked him out whether he's a sprinter miler or a stayer yet. He's got a 2-mile pedigree, so we're having a lot of fun with him, and he's just a very kind horse, tough as old boots, and he has a real crack, and geez, you can't ask for anything more with him.
$31 in the market there yesterday, Dennis. Did you make a quid out of him at least? Was there any? Did you have a bet?
I'm a $100 punter, and every one of my runners, doesn't matter what price they are, and it was a good return yesterday. The only thing I'm crooking,
that's a nice result.
Fixed the odds at $19 when you paid $29 on the motorboat.
Didn't go again at the drift. It's the price.
Yeah.
Hey, Denis, tell us about him. I mean, it's a UK-bred horse, obviously, by Australia, nonetheless.
Well, it's a funny. Australia won a derby in the UK. He's out of a half sister to Rekindling, who won a Melbourne Cup. So you start thinking to yourself, well, he's got a real staying pedigree, and that's what I brought him for. But he just showed so much speed, and I've been humming and hawing with him, and he just wants to run. And he's up until yesterday, he'd won 4 races all by leading. But as you get up tougher in class, it's so hard to beat those horses who have had a sit behind and come late. So we just decided to see if we could get covered with him. It didn't quite work out the way we probably thought it would, but that's probably going to be the way we're going to race him. If he's ever going to be a staying type, he's probably got to learn to just be a bit patient and have something left for the finish.
Denis, I've heard you speak numerous times about, I guess, the training caper, and I know you've had some difficulties throughout the journey as well. Obviously had a pretty flying start with Johnny Get Angry being able to take out that derby a couple of years ago, but the stable's ticking along really nicely at the moment. You've had your last 7 runners. You've had the winner there yesterday with Georgie Get Mad and 4 other placings from that last 7 runners as well. So it's starting to turn. Things must be pretty well at the camp at the moment.
Oh, well, look, it's a funny thing, Rylie. I want to be successful in everything I do, and I want to win every time I run out. I just focus on trying to get the best out of my horses, and the result takes care of itself. And I'm just enjoying it. I get a lot of help from Troy Corsten. He's talking about stables that are flying. His stable is flying. It's airborne, and he's been terrific for me. And he's foreman Will Larkin. Nothing's too much trouble. I lease boxes off them, and they treat me like I'm their best customer. So it works well for me to not have to worry about staff or admin. I just put my horses in their stable, and they're well looked after by Troy's staff. And I think to myself, how lucky am I?
Denis, tell us a little bit more about it. I mean, he was racing okay. You gave him a bit of a spell, a bit of a freshen up, 5 weeks, and you had a little trial down at Werribee. Did you think the penny might have dropped then?
Well, it probably dropped for me a little bit because he beat some good horses. I think there might have been the Astrologist and a good horse from Freeman Stable and another couple of good horses. And I thought to myself, this is over 800 metres. They're Saturday class sprinters. Some of them won $2 million, and I thought, geez, he beat them, and they were trying as hard as they could. And I thought, gee, so I sent him to Geelong in a 1,200 metre, which is just, he never raced at 1,200 metres, and he won that. And it really took me back a bit. So after discussing it with Troy said, we've got to try him as a 1,400 metre horse. So we started to do that and try to get some cover with him instead of taking it on from the start. He just loves to get out of the gates and go flat out, and you're not going to win too many races doing that against Saturday class horses.
Mm. Denis, how many horses do you have in work at the moment?
I've only got 3 in work at the moment. I've got a total of 6 horses. So after I won the Derby, I think I had might have been 12 horses. I own them myself, but some of them I could beat with my legs tied together. So had to get rid of a few. So I'm down to 6 now. Probably just aiming to get one more staying filly, and that'll just about do me. I don't want to get to the stage where totally consumed with the horses. I just like to go down there in the morning. Troy puts my horses in the late group, so it just suits me fine getting down there, working my horses. Still in the dark over here, but probably what is it? The winter solstice is the 21st and 22nd. Days will start to get longer, and it's pleasant as anything being down there at 5:30 and it's daylight. Mm. You can really see your horses. They're running around in the dark. I wouldn't know who's who.
It's 20 to 8 over here in Perth, and the sun's only just coming up. It gets darker and darker every year in winter.
Well, it seemed like it this year, I can tell you.
And you're still doing a little bit of real estate?
A very little bit. I look after a couple of old clients, but my son does the majority of the work, and he's virtually taken it over. You do something you really like at my age, and you think to yourself, well, we set the business up financially for my son. He's taken it by the scruff of the neck and really made it a profitable situation. And the last thing I want to do is go down there and have a blue with my son over how the business is going to be run. He's making the money, and he just gives me my share, and I think it's a good country, Australia. So I just keep going.
Do you still follow the footy, Denis?
Oh, of course.
Well, I had a good day yesterday. I went to Flemington, brought some a couple of pizzas and some pasta on the way home. Got home and watched North and West Coast. It was great for North to get a win. They've been going terrible, but I just hope they gain a bit of confidence from that. And I just hope I'd like to see this Bryn Teakle, see how he goes. You're both probably a better judge than I, and I haven't seen him play yet.
Oh, he can play. He can seriously play. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well, I hope they put him in the team next week, because I'd just like to have a look at him, and if he's as good as the reps are, I'll be really pleased, because North are screaming out for some big bodies and the players with a bit of height and who can catch the footy.
Now, you've been always renowned as one of the great orators in coaching and football and your one-liners. How do you address the horses when they can't speak back to you?
That's a funny thing, isn't it? All I say to them is it doesn't matter whether you win or lose, just as long as you're in front when the siren goes. You know what I'm talking
about. Brilliant, mate.
Denis,
fantastic. You're going well.
We've got to get to our next guest on the Aftermath this morning, but it was a pleasure catching up with you and having a chat, and congratulations once again with the win of Georgie Get Mad at Flemington yesterday.
Yeah, thanks, Rylie. Thanks, Brad. Have a good day, boys. See ya.
Denis Pagan, thanks, Denis. Denis joining us on the Aftermath this morning there from Melbourne after the win of Georgie Get Mad at Flemington yesterday. He was always great to chat to Denis, Brad, that is for sure, and certain.
He's a cracker. He's
a beauty.
And again, he's very humble too. Yep. Very humble, and he's a big man to make mistakes. As he said, when he won the Derby, he went mad, and
it was just
overpaid horses.
Yep. It was, a flying start to his career, and obviously things got a little bit more difficult from there, but that can be the case sometimes in racing, Brad, that is for sure and certain, but no, good to see. I always enjoy listening to him talk as well. He's a realist. He's always very honest and open with people when he talks racing or talks football, and pleasure to catch up with Denis on the program this morning. We're about to catch up with Maddy Sears, who the stable had a terrific day there yesterday at Eagle Farm, and we can actually catch the closing stages of Yellow Brick's win there yesterday as well before we bring her in.
Followed there by Colino. Yellow Brick is going forward out wider on the track, and Waddy goes in behind those looking for the way clear at the 450. Look at Yellow Brick out wide. He swept up and grabbed the lead. Waddy goes is out and trying hard. Mississippi Prince is still there. Further back to Nemazu. Colino. Coast Watch on the inside, but Yellow Brick at the moment clear. He's over 2 lengths in front. Waddy goes is trying hard. Latest Coast Watch on the inside. Yellow Brick's in front by about a length or so near the line. Yellow Brick by half length here. Yellow Brick in front. Yellow Brick's won from Waddy Goes and Coast Watch, followed by Mississippi Prince and then Irish Songs, and further back Colino. Devastated.
That was the winner, Yellow Brick, yesterday in the new turf Spear Chief handicap at listed level over the 1,500 metres at Eagle Farm, and we're catching up with Maddy Sears on the program this morning. A very good morning, Maddy, and congratulations with the team's results there yesterday at Eagle Farm.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here this morning. It was a great day.
Maddy, congratulations. 45 minutes of pure joy. And, let's get to Yellow Brick Road first. I mean, he's been a wonderful horse for you, but he's had his issues. He's had a few things, but a magnificent ride yesterday. Great trail there by James McDonald.
Yeah, it's been a great journey with him, that's for sure. I was very excited to have J-Mac on board. Dad and I were stoked. He's the greatest, so have him on him, and he did the horse justice, that's for sure, and got the job done.
It must have been, I guess, a much more satisfying result for the team there yesterday, Maddy. He's been in some good form, but he's just struggled to be first past the winning post. His last win was in May of last year, so it's been over 12 months since he was in the winner's stall, but he certainly hasn't been out of form in that time, has he?
Yeah, no, look, his first 2 runs this time in, he's run into a very, very wet tracks, and it's no secret that he's not the same horse on a wet track, and he's just unlucky last time in with some couple of rides that didn't really go to plan, but the horse has always been firing on all cylinders, and it was very, very glad that it happened yesterday, and it was a big relief.
He's certainly a horse that likes to work through his gears. He's not a short, sharp sprint, has he? He continues to just keep going and going and going pretty much at the one bat.
Yeah, he sort of surprised J-Mac yesterday. He said to us, wow, I didn't expect him to quicken as quick as he did when he let him go. He said, if I had my time over, he said, I certainly would have ridden him a little bit different, but, his quality prevailed yesterday, that's for sure.
Great celebrations after the race. Who were you hugging? Is that a relation of yours? Or?
It's my mum.
Your mum?
Yeah, it's my mum. This horse is very, very special to us, especially to my mum. She's the only person who's ever strapped him at the races. So for that to happen yesterday, I saw the cameras on us, so I tried to be as contained as possible. But mum's basically the backbone of Dad and I. We'd be lost without Mum. And, it was very exciting. I did have a bit of a giggle to myself when I saw that video.
Maddy, before we get to the other of your winners there yesterday, what's the plan for Yellow Brick moving forward from this point?
So I've just been, as well we've been on the phone, I've just been told that he's second emergency and Freedom Rally's first emergency, and that's with the horses that we know aren't starting in the race. So by the looks of it, he's
that's for the Stradbroke next week.
Yeah, that's for the Stradbroke. So from what we've been told, it looks like he will hopefully get a run, which has been our intentions this whole time to run him in the Stradbroke. But, if he doesn't happen to get in for some reason, he'll go to the Tattersalls Mile the week after. How's he been this morning? Has he pulled up well from the run there yesterday, obviously? Yeah, he's pulled up great. Dad's not long gotten home. We brought him out to the farm here and he was turning himself inside out doing wheelies and bucking and pig rooting and carrying on. So he's, the run certainly hasn't knocked him around, that's for sure.
Speaking with Maddy Sears, and half an hour before that, Maddy, had another one, Steady Ready. Now, I'm not sure that was the plan, the way he ran, but there was certainly plenty of pace in the race on paper, but it didn't quite work out that way.
Yeah, look, we had ourselves sitting third, actually, behind.
We might have just lost Maddy there briefly. Maddy, have we got you there?
I was a little bit worried, but Ange Jones knows the horse inside out. He just flies for her, that horse. And I thought at the top of the straight when he was travelling and he was in such a great rhythm, I didn't think anything was going to catch him, to say the least.
Yeah, we just missed that. You thought you'd be sort of running third, but things, as I said, they didn't quite pan out. But it was a great. God, he was trucking along, wasn't he, outside the leader? Yeah. No, he was really travelling, and I've got to give credit to Anne. She rides this horse beautiful, and he goes so well for her. So it was, I was quietly confident leading into the race that he was going to run a very bold race. But it was great that he put it to paper yesterday.
You certainly appreciated getting back on top of the ground there, I'm sure, there yesterday as well, Maddy, off that heavy 10-run first up. Never ideal to resume on a track under those sort of conditions.
No, it wasn't ideal. Even though the horse, he has wet track form, but, that was when he was a 2-year-old, so, they mature and change over time. And that run didn't really knock him around. We sort of might have taken a bit more out of him than what it did, because he's quite a fat, sort of burly horse. But ever since we've cut him, he's a totally different horse. They say it's the ultimate gear change, and Dad and I believe that's exactly what's gone on with him.
Now, you were hugging the strapper as well. Is he part of the family?
No, he's not part of the family. He's a good friend of mine, Harry. We had horses going in all different directions yesterday, so I phoned a friend and said, come help us strap at the races today. So, I was trying to. That was an easy watch, to say the least. We could sit back and enjoy that.
Yeah.
Maddy, you must be
for Steady Ready.
Yeah, Maddy.
What's that? Sorry?
No, go on, Maddy. You continue.
So Steady Ready goes. He's going down to Universal Stables tomorrow for a week in a grassy paddock, because they've put on Sunshine Coast Cup Day. There's a $200,000 open 1,000-metre race, so he'll target that next.
There you go, some very good prize money on offer there for Steady Ready at his next start as well. Maddy, the stable's going really well. You must be wrapped at the moment. Obviously, the two winners yesterday, but you also had Bo Dazzler ran really well. I know Redwood Shadow ran really well midweek as well. Things are going well.
Yeah, we're very lucky with the clients we have behind us to be able to have the horses we do, and we've got a fantastic team of staff as well. The horses are going super. We always try and have them firing around this time of the year. We couldn't be any happier. We've got a fantastic team of horses, probably the best string of horses that we've had to date. And there's still some really nice horses that haven't stepped out yet. But, it was good to see Bo Dazzler do that yesterday. He got absolutely poleaxed in the sires. So for him to come back and do that yesterday, Kyle rode him a treat. Unfortunately, I think he got suspended in the race. But, he went really well for him yesterday. So at this stage, we will most likely press on to the JJ with him.
Things are going super for you and Tony at the moment. Maddy, thank you very much for joining us on the program for a chat this morning, and congratulations once again on the results there yesterday.
No problem. Always a pleasure. Thanks, guys.
Maddy Sears joining us there on the program after the wins of Steady Ready and also Yellow Brick at Eagle Farm yesterday. You've mentioned it a couple of times, Brad. A terrific day. Back to back.
Magnificent day. You can't have that. What about that 35 minutes? That was just outstanding. And she's a lovely looking and lovely mannered girl, and she really had a day. The whole family going beautifully there. So
they absolutely are.
I'm actually with your family.
I'm looking through their recent results at the moment, and if they're not winning, their runners they are taking to the races right at the moment. They're going very, very close. That is for sure and certain. Well, we're about to catch up with Graham Crudeli with Disco Daisy, the winner of the Nambeelup heat there at the Greys on Friday night. We can catch the closing stages of that race.
Racing. Flying out King Shot with Disco Daisy, Shy Emoji, fourth and wide Curo, then West on Smoky, Bargnea and last Window Shopper. Disco Daisy took off mid-race. She's setting up a big lead. 4 lengths on Shy Emoji. Curo outside of King Shot, then West on Smoky, Window Shopper, Bargnea. Disco Daisy 2 ahead, Shy Emoji beginning to hit top gear, but Disco Daisy wins from Shy Emoji, King Shot, Curo. And then Window Shopper, well back West on Smoky, and last Bargnea, 27-26.
There you have it, Disco Daisy, a very impressive winner there on Friday night, and we're joined by Graham Crudeli on the show this morning. Graham, very good morning.
Good morning, boys.
Congratulations, Graham. Well, she pinged over the lids beautifully.
Yeah, so first win at the track. I think she's had a few starts there now and finally showed her best and put Cannington form at Mandurah. And yeah, once she gets on the arm and gets going, she's got a bit of ability this one. So hopefully she's got a license at the track now and does it again next week.
Is that the plan with her? Start her again next week at Mandurah?
Yeah, well, she's in the final there, so she got off 3. A little bit of pressure out wide with West on my brother's dog with a bit of speed, and she does like a big track, so it's not sure. It all depends what the 4 does, but if we can beat that out and get near the armour again, she'll be very hard to beat. She's run a bit of time, and I think she'll get better with the confidence.
She's been a great dog for the team, hasn't she, with her record?
Yeah, she has. From day one, she's always shown ability, and she's won a fair few races. We've won some big finals at the Cannington as well, so it's actually a little drop in grade for her. We've been a provincial 4-5 series, so I think she's a City 4 at the moment, running against the big boys, so it's a nice little race for her, and corner start makes it hard. She does step and then has plenty of muster, but just needs a little bit of luck on that first corner and get near the lead and finish up the catch.
Graham, how is the I guess the greyhound fraternity feeling about, I guess, Cannington being out of action for a little while now?
Yeah, it's hard for us because our main source of races at Cannington. We try and breed and race Cannington dogs, so it does affect us a little bit. All the dogs getting used to the bigger tracks and all that, so we're just going to buy our time and have to wait to get back to Cannington. I suppose the only good thing is we're 7 minutes from Mandurah, so we get home early and get a bit more sleep, I suppose. But then you got the Northern racing, which
it's always handy.
Chills us a bit as well, so it does even out a bit. You got the Northern Nights and that's a couple of hours away, and trials and all that as well, so it evens out. But yeah, can't wait to get back to Cannington.
What's the major difference for the uninitiated, Graham, of the 2 tracks? I mean, as you say, one's a bigger expanse, but how big?
Yeah, look, you got one track, it's just virtually one turn. The Mandurah, it's a big looping track. It's good for the big dogs, and it's hard to come from behind. You get on the arm, and it's a consistent sprinting, where you got Cannington, you've got 2 turns, so a dog will hit for the first corner. Firstly, has a step or a breather, and then drives around the corner. And different dogs, you can got that first corner where you can just underneath at Cannington. It's a slow beginner. Where at Mandurah, you're virtually, if you're 5th or 6th or 7th, dogs will continue 100% running, so it's very hard to make up ground and virtually catch them up.
Are there any runners heading to the races tonight there at Mandurah, Graham?
No, it's a bit wet for me, mate. I've got the night off. Heading to my kids' football shortly, so I'll probably get drenched on that. But, yeah, nothing at the moment. Got one in. Yeah, it's good times at the moment. But he'll enjoy it out in the rain. I won't. But, yeah, I think
next race we've got is Wednesday night. A nice pup in, can run, and he might be at a bit of a price. So Speed Shallow, he has a lot of ability. Again, the corner start, but if he gets a clean run, the dog's got a lot of ability. So she had a nice each way price on Wednesday night.
There you go, Glenn Shallow there on Wednesday night for the team. Graham, congratulations once again with the win of Disco Daisy on Friday night, and I'm sure we'll catch up with you again on the show very soon.
Thanks, boys. Thanks.
Graham Crudeli joining us on the program there.
Sounds like the rain's coming down there too. Cool.
It is. I was actually just listening before. I could hear it on the roof of the studio. I'm sitting in here at Gloucester Park.